What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined today by my co host, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just trying not to stay stir crazy, and I'm counting down the days to the draft. I think tomorrow will be 14, so we're about 2 weeks out. I'm excited.
This is the most excited I think I've been for a draft since Carolina drafted a quarterback.
And it's crazy because, it's going to be really weird this year. It's going to be really different.
That's probably why we're so excited, because we haven't watched any actual sports in, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 or 4. It's been crazy. I'm going through withdrawals.
Yeah. I'm just excited to be able to still talk about things. Speaking of which, we had some news this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have been staying on social media the past few days, you've seen that the NFC South is going hard with their jersey reveals. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers released yesterday their new jerseys. How'd you feel about them? I'll let you go first.
I dislike them a lot. I think
Really?
I think they're kind of boring, honestly. I would have loved to see them play into like the old school jerseys that they used to have, which were like that orange. You know what I'm talking about? The like yellowish
Yeah,
orange.
I
They
would have
they
loved
just
to see
look like
that
Atlanta
instead.
Falcons jerseys.
Yeah, I saw that. I totally get where you're coming from. I also wish they had brought back the creamsicle jersey, just to add some more flair with Brady's arrival. But I mean, I didn't hate them. It kind of felt like more of the same.
And also
Uh,
change the helmet or something. Give us something a little different. Like, I'm tired of these jersey reveals where they don't change a lot.
they changed a little. I think they did change the helmet. They made it more like matte instead of
Did
like
they?
the shininess. Yeah, I think so.
Oh
How
yeah, a
about
little
you?
bit, a little bit. I have a side by side right here.
I did like their gray pewter jerseys. I thought they were really cool. Uh, I think that was the best jersey of the three new ones. But I mean, I like the classic black pirate logo that they're putting on the sleeves of all of the new jerseys. But I thought overall that, I mean, this was successful. A lot better than last year when the Jets tried to pass off their new jerseys.
Those were just bad.
Yeah, which looked like they stole something from Michigan State's playbook.
I mean, if I'm ranking the two that were released, I like Atlanta's more than I like the Bucks.
Really, I feel like Atlanta literally did nothing. I did not like Atlanta's very much at all.
I
I
like
tried to find something positive to say about it, but there wasn't much for
I
me.
really like the Atlanta one where it's the black pants and then the jersey's half black but fades up to red.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool.
That's the one I like, and I like the all black one.
Yeah, the black one was good. I like they put the ATL on the jersey. I think they did that on all three of them, and it's kind of it reminds me of like the Hawks jerseys, which I kind of liked that
Yeah.
shout out or like meshing the two, I guess.
I almost wish that Atlanta would have changed their helmet a little bit and made it like for the all black jersey if it would have been like a red helmet or something.
Yeah, a red helmet would be absolute fire. That probably would have put it over the edge for me. Like
Or
I
like
would have loved that.
the numbers were red or something. Like, I don't know, I just feel both jersey releases were a little bit boring, and I don't know. I
Yeah, no,
just I would love to know who designs these jerseys. Like how old the person that designs these jerseys actually is.
yeah, they definitely need an infusion of youth. I agree with you that it was kind of kind of boring that like a lot of hype was built around it for like slight subtle tweaks here and there to make it like the same thing that they've been wearing the past like 5 6 years.
Yeah,
I
and
need like a drastic change. I need some new color splashes. You
I'm telling
know?
you, I think the Bucks really missed by not having this creamsicle in there.
Yeah, seriously. I think that was like what everyone was kind of expecting too. So everyone was kind of disappointed when it
Because
wasn't there.
right now I'm looking at an edit of creamsicle Tampa jerseys that I think a fan did. I mean, it kind of looks like a Tennessee Volunteers jersey, but it's also kind of fire. I
Yeah,
don't
because I
know.
mean, orange isn't really used a lot in the NFL. It's kind of like the Bengals, right?
The Bengals and the Browns, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like an NFC team that uses orange. I
I
don't
don't
think
think
there
so.
are
This one.
any.
Speaking of the Browns, aren't the Browns releasing new uniforms?
Somebody else is releasing. Who is it?
I swore it was Cleveland.
Is it?
Which they're way past overdue for. Their color scheme is horrible. I know they're a historic franchise, but I kind of just wish they would just rebrand.
I'm trying to look it up. Okay, NFL new uniforms and logos for 7 NFL teams coming in 2017. Is this a real?
2017?
I mean, in 2020, is this a real article? It's by the Insider. Okay, so we had the Rams. They already did it.
Yeah, the Rams were whack. I think they get the. I mean, it's obviously very early, but they get the biggest.
Tampa.
In a word.
This article might be real. Atlanta. Who are the other teams on here? The Patriots? Little is known about the plan of changing the uniforms for the New England Patriots. According to no logo changes planned for the Patriots, but they will be moving back to the Patriot logo on their uniforms. Oh, but they won't be moving back. So, oh yeah, Cleveland Browns. Here it is. The Cleveland Browns are getting new uniforms according to a source close to the team. They look like the Browns are supposed to look. The assumption is that the Browns will be going back to something more traditional.
Ugh. Please no.
Great. Can't wait.
Yeah, seriously.
And then the very next quote is, the Browns' current uniforms are anything but traditional.
As long as Baker's not in the jersey reveal, I'm okay.
And then apparently the Colts are going to tweak their uniforms and logo. And that is the last team on this list.
I need, Kansas City to, make, a flare yellow jersey.
Well, I hate to break your heart, but 5 hours ago from the Chiefs Wire of the USA Today, why Chiefs won't be changing uniforms anytime soon.
Oh, wow. You are so ready with that.
No, I mean, I just read it right before you said that, so...
Who else would be, a really good candidate? I feel like the Redskins would do really well with, a new... They just need something new.
I mean, I'm going to sound like a homer saying this, but I think the Panthers should come out with a black helmet.
A black matte helmet would look so good.
That's what I've been saying it for years, and so is Panthers Twitter. There's multiple different edits of them with black helmets, and they look fire.
Piggybacking off that, I know Bills Mafia wants to bring back the red helmets, which I think would be absolutely fire with our blue jerseys.
Heck yeah! I'm trying to think what another team would look good. What's another team that needs to just rebuild with their uniforms?
Are the Jets eligible to do that again?
I mean, they just did 2 years ago? Last year. Yeah, feels like 2 years ago. So what other news did we have for this week other than the jerseys?
Just the NFL draft has officially gone virtual. I think head coaches and GMs won't even be allowed in the same room.
Yeah, I heard that they have to do it from their separate houses, I think.
Yeah, it's confusing. I think everyone's still trying to figure out how this is going to be done. And it sounds like they're going to be doing a lot of tests to make sure the technology cooperates. Because, technical difficulties would be the absolute worst in a time like this. That's one place you don't want to have technical difficulties in is the draft. That'd be horrible.
2 minutes left on the clock, your Wi-Fi goes down?
Yeah, seriously. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that would be awful. Could you imagine that? Or what if somebody hits the wrong button and they draft the wrong guy? I don't know. I heard that it's supposed to look a lot like, at least from what we're watching, it's supposed to look a lot like a fantasy football draft.
I could get into that.
Me too. I mean, as long as it's still televised and we get to watch it, I'm here for it.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm gonna be glued to the TV the whole 3 days.
Me too, because I am desperate for any sort of sports.
Yeah, right. I would just, I miss it so much.
Desperate.
But I think a couple of first off, I don't really like that the head coaches and the GMs aren't really I guess I don't like the fact that there's no war room. I mean, I've got McBean, who works up in Buffalo really well together. I feel like it would be better. I mean, obviously they're going to be communicating, but like I'd like them to be in that
Yeah,
same room.
I don't really get that. If they're healthy, why can't they just be in the same? I guess it's bad, like a bad visual for the league, but
Just keep it under 10.
yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't. First of all, why are you telling anybody? Like, just have your staff come over to your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Build a war room inside somebody's house. Like David Tepper, you're the richest owner in the league. Just build a war room.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, with how rich some of these guys are, they can have like everyone can be in the house just in a different room with like walkie-talkies or something.
Realistically, that's probably what people might do.
Okay, I need like videos of that happening though. That would be so dope.
If you could pick one team other than the Bills war room to be in, who would it be? And I won't do the Panthers, obviously.
Like just to watch?
Yeah, just to be like a fly on the wall.
100% the Patriots. I would love to see how
Wow.
Bill Belichick like operates. Like,
I didn't even think about them.
that's like just he's such an enigma, and like I mean he's been at it for like 20 some years, so just seeing his process and like because I mean they take a lot of obscure guys and they just make them their projects and develop them because I mean I had never heard of Chase Winovich coming out of last year and now he's like one of their top defensive ends.
True.
So like
I mean, I think mine would just have to be the Dolphins because they have so many picks
yeah, that's true.
that it would be very interesting.
I gotta see what B-Flow's process is.
I mean, they're trading up.
Well, we'll find out soon. We'll have our mock draft 2.0 with trades next week, so
Exactly.
we can test that out
But
in real time.
for the remainder of this week, we are going to go into what Ryan suggested over text message a few days ago, which is the Hold the Phone Free Agency Awards. So we're going to give out a few awards after the free agent period, which we know free agency isn't technically over, but a lot of the larger players have been signed. So which category do we want to begin with, Ryan?
You want to start with most improved team? I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay. Mine actually, I believe, are similar to yours. I've seen your answers. You haven't seen mine. I have the Bills and the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals filled their biggest team need by that DeAndre Hopkins trade, and they got out from underneath the David Johnson contract. Now they can really focus on the offensive line with the 8th overall pick. And then my second team was the Bills because, like you pointed out earlier, they don't really have any holes after the trades and the signings that they've made. I tried to find one earlier today, and it was very difficult. I'm going to try and look again if you'd like to try and explain your answers to me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely looked at a lot of teams. The teams that were swirling around in my mind was two that you named, Buffalo and Arizona, but also the Chargers and Miami, just because Miami's pretty much done a complete overhaul. But I kept them off the list because I think that they overpaid for a lot of their players, which I think being one of the worst teams in the league, you kind of have to do. But it's just something that it's not good practice, I guess. And the Chargers did a lot of good things, but I don't think they did enough to be most improved. I went to Buffalo. Well, first off, I agree with what you said about Arizona. They were probably my second team. But Buffalo has to win it for me, and I don't want to sound like a homer. But like you said, they don't have any team needs. I think the biggest glaring team need right now is to get someone to back up Devin Singletary. And if your biggest need is to find a backup running back, you're in good shape.
So it's interesting that you said that because CBS apparently has every team's team needs up on their website. And right now, I'm crossing receiver off of this list because this article, I believe, was done either right after the Diggs trade or right before it. So I'm crossing receiver. That was the number one on the list, which I would have agreed with, but they traded for Diggs. So then they have interior offensive line, edge rusher, and running back.
Yeah, we do need... So Jerry Hughes and Trent Murphy have been solid, but they're not going to be Pro Bowl, bust the top off the defense, or the offensive line, excuse me.
I mean, the problem is they're old.
Yeah, they're really old. I think Jerry is like 30. I think he's going to be 33 by the time the season starts. And I think Trent's about to turn 30 himself. So we need a fresh face after Shaq Lawson left.
Jerry Hughes will be 32. His birthday is August 13th.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was close.
Yeah.
No, you're good. but yeah, I mean, we just have two older guys in there, so I'd like to see a younger face in there. Like, I think a lot of people had us mocked to draft AJ Ipenza from Iowa.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not going to happen because we don't have a first round pick anymore.
Is that how you say his name?
I have no idea, man. I just kind of go with it.
I thought it was AJ Ebeneza, but if it's Epinza, I've been saying it wrong this whole time, so who knows?
No, you definitely. I'm really terrible with names, so
me too.
More correct.
Okay.
We might learn on draft night. Who knows?
Yeah, true. We probably will. But yeah, I agree. I think the Bills are, man. The more and more I look at your team, the more and more I think if Josh can put it together this year, they are set for a deep playoff run.
Our offense is gonna be dangerous, man. I'm so excited.
If y'all get another wide receiver in this draft, like imagine if they add somebody like Chase Claypool or somebody like that in like the third round.
I think the guys that I want the most are like, well, you know how I feel about Brandon Ayuk, but I don't think he's gonna fall to us. But I mean, yeah, Claypool, and I think we've also met with Denzel Mims. I wouldn't be upset if we got him either. I mean, who knows? We might end up trading back in the first round to snag somebody like that. I have no idea. But yeah, if we added another receiver, it's over. I'm sorry.
It's an exciting time to be a Bills fan, that is for sure.
I haven't been able to say that in a long time.
Yeah. But I guess we can move on to our next category, which was are we going in order from what you texted?
Yeah.
The most unimpressive team?
Yeah, I said unimproved, which I don't think is a word. So I like unimpressive. That sounds a lot
I don't
better.
know if that's a word either, but we're just going to roll with it. You can go first on this one.
All right. There weren't a ton of teams that stuck out to me, but it's got to be my division rival that I give this award to, the New England Patriots. I think in my text I said it looked like Thanos just completely wiped out their team, man. They have nobody. I mean, Tom Brady left, Philip Dorsett left, Danny Shelton, Jamie Collins, Kyle Van Noy. I could go on, man. They've lost so many big players, especially on defense, too. I mean, their offense already wasn't that impressive last year. Their defense was kind of what carried them, and they lost a ton of their defensive starters. So I think they have too much to do in this draft to really fill all their needs. So I don't see them being all that great this year.
Yeah, I agree. I also have the Pats on my team, especially because their starting quarterback currently is Jarrett Stidham, which we don't know anything about him, and he has no weapons. Also on that list, they kind of saved it, but I had the Atlanta Falcons. I think the signing of Todd Gurley, if it works out, is going to end up being a really good signing for them. But at the same time, you basically just replaced Devontae Freeman with his twin and Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
So I'm just really unimpressed with Atlanta. Losing Desmond Trufant also hurts.
Austin Hooper. Believe they lost an offensive lineman. I can't think of his name. But they're just... I think Atlanta's set up to come in dead last in the division this year. Unless Matt Ryan has a crazy season like he did a couple years ago. But just to be different, I will go ahead and say the Pats. Yeah, I really like Atlanta there. That was
not the Pats. Atlanta, my bad.
Oh, you're saying Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm going to say, just to be different, because you said the Pats, I'm going to say Atlanta.
I like it, because, I mean, Atlanta is definitely, if they're not first, they're a close second, man, because they have lost, I don't know, words are hard. They've lost so many good players, and I think, obviously, they have one of the best receiving cores still with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, but, I mean, like you said, unless Matt Ryan has another MVP caliber season, I think they're done. And their defense isn't good either, so it's going to be hard in that division. That division's going to be so tough. It's going to eat them up.
Yeah. I mean, every game in that division is always tough, but this year especially is going to be really hard. It's going to be a battle, that's for sure.
But they've got those flashy new uniforms, so maybe that'll do something for them.
Hey, man. You never know. I have a feeling that we're going to have the exact same answer for this one. But for this one, I have two answers. What coach is on the hot seat for you, Ryan?
The coach most on the hot seat has to be Bill O'Brien. This guy is the head coach and the GM of the Houston Texans. And, I mean, he traded DeAndre Hopkins. He's sending away all their first-round picks for guys like Kenny Stills and Laramie Tunsil, which Tunsil was needed. Tunsil's a very good offensive lineman, but I don't think you should, sell the house for a guy like Kenny Stills. But, I mean, now he looks decently smart for that because he has another option at wide receiver, which now they're kind of thin at. But, yeah, Bill O'Brien has just dismantled this franchise in, the past 3 weeks. So, I mean...
If you had to guess right now, do you think Bill O'Brien makes it to the end of the year?
I think it will be. I haven't really... when you hear those, whispers that, oh, this guy's on the hot seat, despite Bill O'Brien completely failing at a lot of things, there are no whispers in Houston. So I'm kind of, wondering if this is kind of like a Cowboys situation where they're just complacent with, a head coach that's, average in every possible way.
I think here's the difference is that the Cowboys have Dak, and Dak can't really demand that he gets a new coach, where Deshaun Watson is a once-in-a-lifetime talent at quarterback, where I think if he went to the owner and said, hey, this guy's ruining my career, we need to get him out, he'd probably get fired. I agree with you. I think Bill O'Brien is on the hot seat. I also think he does make it to the end of the year, but I think he'll probably get fired the next offseason. Also on my list, I had Matt Patricia, because if you look at his record, I believe he's he's lost 22 games or something. Hang on. Matt Patricia's
gotta get the official numbers.
Record. I do, because it's really bad. Well, if I can find it.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna make the case for Patricia, because I have Patricia on my list too.
Oh, I found it. Before you do that, let me just add this. He's 9-22-1 in 3 years as the Lions head coach. So I think if anybody's on the mid-season hot seat, I think it's probably him. But you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves to be there, but I'm such an advocate for this Lions team. I want them to be good so bad. And I think they're so close because, I mean, you have to think, by week 4 of this past 2019 season, they were going toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl. When healthy, their offense is so good. And I think I've said this on the show at least 4 times. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback. Kerryon Johnson is a great running back.
When healthy.
TJ Hawkinson and Jesse James is a solid tight end duo. And they've got 2 solid receivers. If they add another one, they could really bust the top off of something. And they've done what they needed to do, which is focus on defense. They've signed Jamie Collins and Reggie Ragland and Danny Shelton and Desmond Trufant. And they traded away Darius Slay, who did not want to be there. I don't know, man. If they get a guy like Chase Young or Jeff Okudah with that 3rd pick, if they don't trade back, this is a team that could be really special. So I think Matt Patricia's on the hot seat, but I think that this might be the season that saves him.
So here's my problem with the Lions is you remember I believe it was 2014 when the Bengals were a really, really talented team, but they could never get out of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because of Marvin Lewis. That is who Matt Patricia is. He is a bad coach with a good team.
Yeah, I could see that. Off the evidence alone, there has been very few and far between Patriot coordinators that turn out to be actual good coaches. Brian Flores seems to be one, and Bill O'Brien seemed to be one, but now he's kind of fizzling out.
There are few players that I feel bad for their career luck, and Matthew Stafford is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
If he was on any other team, he'd be one of the... he'd be right up there, I think, with, Phillip Rivers.
Well, I think he'd be, like you said, he might be in Hall of Fame discussions, but, between injuries and bad coaches and... Jim Caldwell wasn't a bad coach. He just... I don't know.
They had a bad team.
Yeah, they did have a bad team.
I think Jim Caldwell's a good coach. I just think he ended up with a bad team.
Yeah, which is weird because, you wouldn't think that, you'd feel bad for a guy who had Megatron as his receiver for so many years.
That's another guy I feel terrible for, that he got drafted to Detroit.
He'll be all right. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't know about Matty Stafford.
I think
though.
he's still incredibly young.
Nah, dude. Matthew Stafford's like
No,
at least 32.
Calvin Johnson. I think Calvin Johnson's like 30. Okay, he's 34. How old was he when he retired?
I think like 31. It was like 3 years.
He was age when he was. Yeah, he was 31. Damn.
Wow, dude, I am a trivia master.
You really are. His career ended. He retired in 2016. I thought it was way before that. I would have said like 2013.
Oh, I was gonna say it feels like yesterday, but like, damn. Difference in perspectives, I guess.
True. What's next on our list?
The team most likely to disappoint in 2020. I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, I have one that you're probably not gonna agree with, Ryan.
All right, hop in on it.
So I have the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
I think they're gonna miss the playoffs.
Really?
I do. Now I have a few stats to break this down. I believe last year they won 9 games. 9 of their 11. I think they won 11 games, right? Let me make sure I'm right.
I think so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they went 11-5. They were 11-5. They won 9 of their 11 games by 1 possession. Now, there's no way a team can get that lucky 2 years in a row. This team is not that good. They have no offensive line. They have running back issues because for some reason they have a really good running back in Chris Carson, but they refuse to give him the ball, so they give it to Rashad Penny, who's not good. They have talented wide receivers. I just have a feeling that they're not going to be that lucky this year, and they're going to end up going like 9-7, and they're going to miss the playoffs.
Okay, see, that makes when you come out and say that they're gonna miss the playoffs, that kind of like raises some flags for me. But if you say they're gonna be like 9-7,
I think they're going to be
playoffs,
battling for the
that.
7th seed in the NFC, and they're not going to make it in.
Oh, I didn't even think about. So you think they're gonna miss the playoffs with 7
Well,
seeds available?
listen, Ryan, I thought about it with 6 teams. Now that I said the 7th seed thing, I'm like, all right, they could probably sneak in with the 7th seed. But nope, I'm sticking to my guns. In fact, they're going to come in 3rd place in that division. The 49ers are going to come in 1st. The Cardinals are going to come in 2nd. And the Seattle Seahawks are going to come in 3rd.
See, I can get behind that. I'm a huge fan of Russell and the Seattle Seahawks. But, like, I've been banging the drum for weeks saying that the NFC West is going to be the powerhouse of the NFL. I mean, that division is so tough. And I don't want to play them this year when we have to, and I'm scared.
Like, here are the teams that they beat by 1 possession. The Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Ravens, I think.
The Chargers.
No,
the Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, Rams, Browns, Atlanta, Tampa, San Francisco, Philly, Minnesota, and Carolina. So, yeah, 9 of their 11 wins were by 1 possession. And the Carolina game was in Week 15. So that was a bad Carolina team. The Atlanta team was terrible at the time. They beat Tampa in overtime. They beat San Francisco in overtime. I just don't think they're going to get this lucky again next year. And I don't think Russ can do it. Russ will have to win MVP.
He low-key should have won it this year, but you know how I feel about that.
Very true. I agree with you, but I'm just high on the Cardinals, so I think they're coming in 3rd.
I mean, but you also have to think that they're going to be playing teams like the Dolphins this year, like the Jets, like the Patriots. Like, they have to play the AFC East, which, honestly, the only team that they should even be worried about is, not to toot my own horn, but, like, the Bills. Like,
I disagree. I think if the Dolphins draft Tua, they automatically become pretty damn good. And I think when the Jets' defense is, if everybody's healthy, if C.J. Mosley comes back fully healthy, they're one of the best defenses in the entire NFL.
See, I have to disagree with you on that. I do love their linebacking core is ridiculous. Jamal Adams is amazing. But they have literally, I could start at cornerback for the Jets right now.
Yeah, did you draft some? There's good corners in this draft.
But the thing is like they can't do they use their first pick on that because they have to get offensive line. They have no offensive line either. That's the.
Oh no, they're going wide receiver.
They're going wide receiver.
I think so. We just had this debate last week that they don't have a wide receiver on the roster.
But this is such a deep class. If Tristan Wirfs is on the board, or like Jedrick Wills and they pass on him, I am really giving up all hope I have on Adam Gase.
I think Adam Gase is one of the worst coaches in the entire NFL. But
yeah, going back to that other question about who might be fired before the end of the year, it's Adam Gase.
Him. But Le'Veon Bell kind of acts as a wide receiver. Like, I forget Le'Veon's on that team all the time. I don't know. I'm just not high on the Seahawks. The other team I have on that list was Tampa Bay, but you know how I feel about them. You let me know who you think your disappointment will be.
Well, hold on. I want to go back to the Jets before I tell my pick.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want to know why, no matter who the Jets bring in, I will never be worried about them?
Talk to me.
Terrible coaching. Because I remember a year ago, or around this time last year, it was all over. The Jets were going to win the AFC East. They were going to dethrone the Pats. They were going to just destroy the Bills because they had C.J. Mosley and they had Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold's better than Josh Allen. And look, they still finished third in the division.
They did, but Sam Darnold was out for, 5 weeks with mono?
Hey, I'm sorry, but if you're not washing your hands in New York City, that's your fault, dude.
I'm just saying, I think you're sleeping on the Jets. Like, realistically, Ryan, if you had to put your division in order right now, you're telling me it's not Buffalo, the Jets, Miami, the Patriots?
No, it's 100% that. And I do get nervous every time we play the Jets just because division games are hard. But, I mean, like, when it comes down to it, it's always going to be bad coaching.
Yeah, you're
Good
right.
Coaching wins games.
I'm just saying that they can win one game against Seattle.
Is this where this all started?
Yes, it's because I think Seattle's missing the playoffs. Listen, Ryan, I posted a video, I think it was like 3 days ago, on TikTok about Seattle missing the playoffs. I pissed a lot of people off.
I mean, that's a pretty hot take, and I'll back you for it, but, like, it is, I have to...
It's crazy because the more I talk about it, the more I want to talk myself out of my hot take, but I'm going to stick with it. The Cardinals are going to be better than Seattle this year.
We live for hot takes.
We really do. It's what we... It's what... I mean, hey, I'm still on that Jake Fromm boat, you know?
Yeah. You're rowing the boat to the draft?
Exactly.
Well, getting back to it...
Who is your disappointment?
My disappointment is... I think it's also going to piss people off, quite frankly.
Ooh. Spicy?
My team is the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, no. I agree.
Well, I mean, the world is... They kind of fell in love with the Titans. I mean, you did too.
I mean I was leading that bandwagon, I believe, at one point.
Yeah, you were. You were the bus driver, dude. I mean, like, the Titans were just blasting through everyone in the playoffs, and I mean, they were stealing people's hearts. People were like, okay, well, if my team loses, I'm just gonna hop on this Titans bandwagon. I know I did that. But I mean, I don't see them coming back. They might be able to sneak into playoffs with that 7-seed format, but I mean, they're not going to be the same. People are going to figure out how to stop Derrick Henry. They're going to figure out really quickly that Ryan Tannehill is not as good as they think they are, or he is. I don't know. It worries me. They've got a decent roster, but and Vrabel is an amazing coach, but I'm not sold.
I'm not sold on them either. It's just their division is bad. So, they're always going to have a chance.
True.
I guess we can move on. What was your most important signing of the offseason? You can go first.
Well, I kind of juggled back and forth, and you know the people that I went back and forth with, but I think I'm going to go with the biggest signing of this offseason was Tom Brady to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's an easy one.
I mean, it's the answer.
I mean, they needed a quarterback so badly. They have one of the best receiving corps in the NFL in a tough division. I mean, they've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and they've got O.J. Howard, and I think they still have Connor Brate, who's another good tight end. But they needed somebody. And I'm a big Jameis fan, but they needed somebody new. They needed someone with experience. They had the money, so they got their guy. They got Tom Brady for 2 years. And I think that's going to work out. I can't see this team missing playoffs, especially with 7 seeds. But I don't know.
I don't see them missing the playoffs. but I see them being one of the lower, like 5 through 7.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Saints still have a firm grip on that division, but I think that Tampa Bay is going to be in it.
I mean, it really just depends on how Tom Brady plays. I mean, that's why he's the most important signing to me also, is because if he's bad, that team's going to be bad. And if he's great, then we're going to be like, oh, it was Tom Brady, it wasn't Bill. So, I mean, I agree. Tom Brady was the only answer I had. So
I'm so excited to see who made who, whether it was Bill or Brady.
I think it was Brady. I think he's literally the Kobe Bryant of the NFL. Like his mentality is just like, I have to be the greatest of all time, and so I think it was him. But guess we're gonna find out. I hate that he's 43. I wish he would have left at like 30.
I wish he would just retire.
Well, I mean, he's out of your division now. Literally, the only way you'll see him is if you. God, Ryan, how mad would you be if the Bucks played the Bills in the Super Bowl and the Bucks won?
Okay, if the Bucks won, I'd be upset, but I mean, like, as a whole, like, that's kind of exciting.
Ryan, if Tom Brady went to a different division and beat you in the Super Bowl,
yeah, that would be really disrespectful. I would buy a Brady jersey just to burn it.
That literally makes me sad for you right now, is the idea of that happening. So let's hope it doesn't.
Don't put that into the episode.
Exactly. Let's forget about that. This next one I think is going to be really quick. The biggest trade, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Yeah, that was unanimous. I thought about Diggs, and I was like, even as a homer, I can't make that.
No, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, top 3 in the league. You can't say this didn't upgrade the Cardinals by a ton. So, yeah.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury and whoever the hell the Cards GM is just kind of burst into Bill O'Brien's office and stole all his candy.
It might be Cliff Kingsbury. Isn't he the GM? Am I wrong?
Nah,
no, it's Steve Kimes.
I just don't know.
Steve Kimes?
Yeah, I'm a trivia master, but I would not have been able to tell you that.
Yeah, me neither. I have no idea what he used to do in life, but that's who their GM is. This next one, I'm going to let you say this guy's name, but the most overpaid, I tried to do research to find somebody other than this guy, and he was the only one I could find. So, Ryan, you take the floor. You try and pronounce that name.
All right, this is going to kind of be like a spelling bee kind of thing. I have no idea how to say this guy's name.
Me neither, buddy.
He's from the Eagles, or he was formerly. Hala Pulavati Vadi. I think they call him Big V in Philadelphia. The Lions signed him for 5 years on $45 million with $20 million guaranteed. They made him the second highest paid offensive lineman of this offseason, only behind Andrews Pete. This guy, who I've never even heard of, except for like in Madden and passing, got more money than Brian Bulaga and a bunch of other guys that are way more proven than he is. I thought this was a horrible signing by the Lions, and that's just so much money to a guy that like is not going to make that big of an impact. Like, dude, he may be a decent player, but like that's big time money.
So Ryan, over the last 2 years, guess how many games this guy has started? So from 2018.
I would be willing to say it's less than 10.
He started 4 times.
Oh man, I wanted to say less than 5, but I didn't think that would be
He has
right.
a total of 20 starts in his career, and 10 of which came in 2017.
Damn. They said 20 starts, more like 20 million guaranteed.
That's insane to me that he got 20 million. Are you kidding me?
They gave that guy $45 million.
Oh, hang on.
To circle back around, that is why the Lions have been bad for a very long time.
He also has, in 2019, he started 3 games. Guess how many holding penalties he had?
I'm going to guess 6.
He had 5.
Oh, I'm so close.
He played 3 games and had 5 holding penalties. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a big no.
Oh, and 4 false starts? Was this guy just getting... Is this right? This is right.
This guy was a 100-yard rusher in penalties.
How is that possible? That is so bad. And he got that kind of money?
Yeah, dude. That makes me really hopeful that maybe someday I can play in the NFL.
I mean, he is 25, so he's still relatively young, but That's still an insane amount of money for a guy that is not that good by all accounts.
His inexperience is just more reason not to pay him a ton of money.
I guess they just really needed a tackle in Detroit. I guess we can move on because we both had the most overpaid. So, biggest surprise of the offseason so far. I'll go first. I'm actually going to say DeAndre Hopkins trade. I was leaning towards Tom Brady, but I'm going to go D-Hop just because I did not see him being traded. Where there was a possibility that Tom Brady could leave, but there were no rumors about DeAndre Hopkins potentially being traded until like the day before.
Yeah, they came out of the blue. I mean, I didn't even see the rumors. So, like, when it actually happened, I was like, no way. Like, that was probably going to be one of mine, but I will come up with a different one. I think mine's going to be kind of like one that no one's really expecting. I'm going to say Eric Ebron leaving Indianapolis.
Ooh.
I thought that was a match made in heaven. I know he had an amazing 2018, but didn't have the best 2019. But, like, I don't know. Like, I really liked the fit there. He seemed like he wanted to be there, so I was really surprised that he moved on and went to Pittsburgh. But I think he's going to do super big things in Pittsburgh, and I think he's going to be a top 10 fantasy guy. Not top 10 tight end fantasy.
Yeah.
Overall, that's crazy.
I agree with you. I'm actually looking at Pro Football Reference, and I think one of the main reasons he left is because in 2019 he only started 2 games because Jack Doyle was also there. So I think
Jack Doyle though.
Me neither, but I think Ebron's better. But I think Ebron saw an opening with the Steelers and said, "Oh, well, maybe I can go be a star there."
Yeah, you look at that Steelers team, and he's like, "I'm an instant starter." Plus, it looks like they were willing to pay him some decent money. So.
Yeah, he got broken off again. It's crazy to think he's been in the league since 2014.
Yeah, he didn't really have the best start to his career in Detroit, but he's making the switch now.
Yep. And then rounding out our awards ceremony, the most likely to bust. Now, I think we are going to have different answers on this one, so I'm going to let you go first because I know your answer.
Do you, though?
I think. I'm going to guess it was the last guy you texted.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot I put my favorite.
I'm just checking.
Well, I'm going to go with someone who you're probably not even thinking of. Viewers, subscribers, listeners. It's going to be Phillip Rivers with the Indianapolis Colts. I think that they wanted somebody to kind of step in and take them through the next step, and I don't think Phillip Rivers is that guy because, you're talking about a guy who couldn't take the Chargers to the next step, so you want him to take the Colts to the next step? That doesn't really make sense to me. So I like the fact that they only signed him for 1 year. It's kind of like this is your last hurrah, but I don't see them. I see them maybe going to playoffs because the division is so weak, but I don't see them. I see them maybe at best winning one playoff game if they're really lucky.
So mine's actually going to surprise you a little bit, I think. I have Ryan Tannehill. I think the Titans re-signing Ryan Tannehill is going to end up being a misfire by them. I think he's not going to perform like he did last year. I think he was incredibly hot at the time, just like that entire team was. And I think when he has a few bad games in a row, that team is going to turn on him and say, wow, we could have had Brady, but instead we signed Tannehill. So, yeah, I think Tannehill has the most pressure on his shoulders going into this season, other than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I can see that. I like that a lot, actually. I didn't even think about Tannehill. Like I said earlier about Tennessee, I think they're going to realize that he's not as good as they originally thought he was. Because, if you take that run game away, if you, slow down Derrick Henry and really force Tannehill to pass it, I don't think he's going to win you a lot of games. So I really like that pick a lot.
Yep. And that ends the first ever Hold the Phone Free Agency Awards. I'm sure we'll do this again next year. Ryan, did you have anything else to add before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think so. I really appreciate all the new subscribers and all the new listeners. We appreciate your support. Share us, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and tell your friends.
And look out for our second mock draft with trades potentially coming next week. We appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good weekend.
Stay safe.